Well, December looks like it will be the busiest for property ever recorded. How shocked are people in the housing industry?
Yeah, look, it is a surprise. I mean, we have come through quite an incredible time in terms of the pandemic and the recession. The experience in the Northern Beaches at the moment does show that it's certainly not over, but property has done very, very well. And in terms of pricing, we have seen prices continue to rise in most of Australia. And auction activity is very, very high this week, or very, very strong this weekend. We are actually seeing the highest number of auctions taking place in terms of the whole year. So, lots happening there in terms of auction activity, which is unprecedented. We never see so many auctions this close to Christmas.
And so you would obviously recommend then going to auction as opposed to selling before auction?
Yeah, look, at this stage, auctions do work best in a strong market, and we know that when there are a lot of buyers out there, that you can achieve the best price because there is an element of competition taking place. Some people do prefer private sale. We know that some people don't like the experience of auction when selling, but in terms of pricing, it has been well documented that you generally do achieve the best price if you do decide to go to auction.
And in terms of what areas have fared best, what are we looking at? I know we talk a lot about Byron Bay. What are some other areas?
Yeah, look, it's been an interesting year. I mean, regional Australia has been the star performer, and we've never seen so much population movement to regional Australia ever, which, is quite astounding given that there has been quite a lot of government support to try and move people to regional areas. We've spoken a lot about Byron Bay. It's obviously been a strong performer. I mean, somewhere like Margaret River has also done really well, lots of activity, particularly from first home buyers. But really the one that was the most surprising, really benefited from a range of things that happened during the year, has been Orange in Western New South Wales. So it is an area that does rely on gold mining. We've had some really great gold prices being achieved. We've seen very high levels of first home buyer activity, so more first home buyer activity in Orange than we've actually seen in somewhere like Kellyville. So, Kellyville is in northwestern Sydney, and the fact that we're seeing a regional area that's not even that close to Sydney, it's a 4-hour drive, seeing more activity than a new area in Sydney is quite surprising. So, Orange is an area that has undergone significant urban regeneration, and certainly in terms of pricing, we're starting to see prices kick up in Orange. They've gone up about 10%, but go somewhere like Forbes, nearby Forbes, that's increased by about 20%. So, that whole Western New South Wales area has been a surprisingly strong performer this year.
It's a beautiful part of the world as well. We talked about in the start of this interview the busiest property ever in December, the market. What are we looking at, Nerida, do you think, for the first couple of months in 2021?
Yeah, look, I suppose a lot depends on how much we can get the outbreak in Sydney under control. And, we have been through this before. It's not something that is unprecedented, and it does look like governments are getting better and better at handling these outbreaks over time. So, provided we get that under control, it is looking like a very, very strong start to 2021. The fact that we've got so much auction activity taking place this close to Christmas is very unusual, and we are now seeing pretty much all house prices in capital cities seeing price increases now. So, those very low interest rates, all the government stimulus, the stable banking sector, all of that has really combined to lead to this situation in property, which was certainly not something that anyone expected to be this strong, this late in the year.
And what do you think about interest rates? Do you think they will stay as they are over the next few months? I mean, we've got probably the JobKeeper scenario changing in March. It's a bit uncertain, obviously, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think, it's been interesting looking at all the levels of government stimulus and also support from the banking sector. We were looking at the September cliff being particularly challenging. It didn't end up being the problem that it was expected to be. A lot of people that went on those 6-month mortgage payment freezes have come off. Banks are continuing to work with people that are still struggling to pay loans, and particularly if their jobs have been affected by COVID. As we head into March, we will likely see a withdrawal of support from government. And, while overall there will be people that will be quite challenged in this situation, it's certainly not looking like the cliff type situation that many were expecting. In terms of what's been happening to pricing, it is just so much being supported by those incredibly low interest rates at the moment. At this stage, it doesn't look like they'll be increasing anytime soon. I mean, there is some people that are starting to get a little bit concerned about what could happen to inflation, and the reason being that if inflation does start to kick up, then there would be a reason for the Reserve Bank to start increasing interest rates, which, at this stage sounds outrageous, but, we've certainly seen in property that things can turn very, very quickly. Once we hit November, things started to really power ahead. So, I think that's the thing with economic growth, with property prices, with a lot of indicators that, at one stage it can seem very negative, but things can turn around on certain announcements, whether they're interest rate announcements or policy announcements or, even rising infections or a vaccine. Things can really change quite quickly.
It's a year we will not forget, but thank you for all of your commentary, your expertise. Nerida, you're going to be in Melbourne for Christmas?
Yeah, I will be. We'll be in Melbourne, so it'll be a nice time to spend with family.
Well, have a wonderful Christmas and look forward to seeing you again next year, Nerida. Conisbee, take care.
See you then. Bye.